Division with decimals. So take a minute, go over this blueprint. It's got some helpful information. And now let's move on. All right. So whenever we're dividing decimals, there's one thing we cannot have, and that's to have a decimal in the denominator. So, and remember, we always read division as numerator divides denominator. So it's always left to right. So the denominator cannot have a decimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the decimal, move it to the right, however many places it takes it to make it a whole number. And then let's do it. So in this one here, we only got to move it one place. Remember, whatever we do to one part, we must do to the other part. So if we move the denominator decimal by one place to the right, we got to do the same to the numerator. So now I have 641.7 divide 62. And now let's divide. The denominator goes on the outside of the doghouse and the numerator goes on the inside. I'm going to bring this decimal to the top because I don't want to lose it and forget it in my answer, because then I'll make my answer incorrect. Now I ask myself, 62 goes into 64 one time. 1 times 62 is 62. 64 minus 62 is 2. Bring down the 1. 62 goes into 21 0 times, right? So it just got it to 21. Bring down the 7. Now, 62 goes into 217 how many times? Well, let's just see. I know 62 goes into 100 once, and I have 200. So let's try 3 because 62 still likes a little bit to be 100. So 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. If I add 62 to this, I get 6 plus 2 is 8. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry the 1 is 2, 48. It busted. So we would not want this 4 times 62, right? Because it busted. Let's do the 3. So 3 times 62 is 186. And let's subtract. 7 minus 6 is 1. Well, I can't take 8 out of 1, so I'm going to borrow from this 2, make this 11. 11 minus 2, excuse me, 11 minus 8 is 3. Now let's bring down a 0. And let's ask ourselves, how many times will 62 go into 310? So let's try one more time here. Let's add 62. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 6 is 11. Carry the 1. And 1 plus 2 is 310. So it goes into it, this would be 5 times 62. Goes into it 5 times, 310, subtract. So now my answer here is 10.35. So definitely practice that. If you look at B in the denominator has 2 decimal places. So I'm going to go 1, 2. So I got to do the same to the numerator. So now I have 2422.5 divided by 425. So just take a chance to, or here, let me erase this. Let me just go ahead and work it out. Let's erase this, give myself some room. All right. And I will change this to, let's go this orange. All right. So now inside the doghouse is the numerator. Let's carry the decimal to the top so I don't forget it, my answer. And then the denominator on the outside. Now, 425 will not go into 242, but it will go into 1,422. How many times? Well, 400 happens in 100 twice, right? And we have 2,000 going on here. So let's see. Let's try 5 times. So let's come over and say 425 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Carry the 1. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1 is 21. So that'll work. So 5 times 425 gives me 2125. And let's subtract it. Well, 5 won't come out of 2, so I'm going to have to borrow from the 2 in front. And let's see. Change this right quick. So I'm going to borrow from this 2, making it a 1, making this a 12. But I'm going to have to borrow from this here to give to this one. So I got 12 minus 5 is 7. I got 11 minus 2 is 9. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then 2 minus 2 is 0. Bring down the 5. All right. So now I bet we can go up to 6. Let's try it to 97. So what we can do is add that 425 here. Right here, 425, add it up. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 5. 1 plus 4 is 5, then bring down the 2. So this one would have been 6 times that. So let's try one more time. All right. 0 plus 5 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 plus 4 is 9. And then 2. Oh, that's going to be perfect. So it's 7 times that. It gives me a remainder of 0. So my answer on this one is 5.7. All right. So I'll let y'all do that one on your own. You can read this information here again. All right. Example 2 says find the quotient of 82.3 divided by 2.9, and we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So that may be a repeating number here. I notice this denominator has a decimal, so I'm going to move it to the right one place. It'll make it a whole number. That means I have to do the same to the numerator. So I got 823 divided by 29. So the denominator goes on the outside, the numerator goes on the inside. So 29 goes into 82 how many times? So if I come over here and say 29 plus 29, so 9 plus 9 is 18, carry the 1. 1 plus 2 is 5. Let's see. Want to try again? Yeah, let's try again. So if I add 29 again, I got 8 plus 9 is 17, carry the 1. 1 plus 5 plus 2 is 8. So it busted. So we want to start with 29 times 2. 2 times 29 is 58. So that's what this is. 2 times it. And this next one is 3 times that. All right. So now, okay, so I got 8 won't come out of 2, so I need to borrow from this 8. And make this a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. Bring down the 3. All right. So 243, we're going to see how many times 29 goes into it. So if 29 go into 103 times and there's 200, let's try 29 times 8. All right. So 9 times 8 is 72. Carry the 7. 8 times 2 is 16 plus the 7 is 23. All right, so I got 8 here. And I got 2, 3, 2. Now I'm going to subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. All right, it said round to the nearest tenth. So I'm going to add on a decimal here, I'm going to put a 0, and let's bring it down. 29 will go into 110. Let's try 3 times. Oh, right here we saw it. Right here's our times 3. So it's 87. All right. I'm going to borrow. Let's see, 110 minus the 87. I'm going to borrow from this 1, make it a 0. Borrow from this one, give me my 1s back. 10 minus 7 is 3. 10 minus 8 is 2. So I get 23. So let's tack on another 0. because it said nearest tenths, so we got to go out to the nearest hundreds to determine what happens to the tenths. And over here, we said 8 times 29 is 232. So we're going to go 7 times. We're going to go one less. So you can either subtract the 29 from this to get what 7 times 29 is, or you can just multiply it out. 7 times 9 is 63. Carry the 6. 7 times 2 is 14 plus 6 is 20, right? So if you're, it doesn't hurt to double check your math. All right, so I have 203. I'm going to borrow from this 3 to make that a 10. So I got what? 27's my remainder. All right, so now we need to determine if this 3 right here rounds up or stays the same. What we're going to do is look at the number behind it, which is a 7. And it's just a yes or no. Is that 7 equal to or greater than 5? And our answer is yes. So I'm going to add 1 to the 3, drop the 7 off. So now I got 28.4 is my answer. All right. Let's talk about, we're going to do our, let's see. I'm going to do the application problems separate in a separate video. So be looking for those. Let's come down here and do division of tens. So if we're dividing by 100, right? 100, 10,000, something like that. Then that means we're going to move the decimal place however many places it takes to go to the left to, sorry, I was talking about up at the top. Okay, a division. All right, if I'm dividing by tens, 10, hundreds, thousands, whatever it may be, if I'm dividing by that, I'm going to move the decimal to the left, however many zeros I have in that denominator. Since I'm dividing by 100, I have 2 zeros, so I'm going to go 1, 2. So my answer will be 0.0523. Let's look at this one. I got 5.933 and I'm dividing by 1,000. So there's 3 zeros. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 0.005933. So on B, if I'm dividing by 10, it's just 1 0. So I'm going to go move it one place to the left. I get 81.7.